The John Morse room. The last time Mrs. Borden was seen alive was about 9 o'clock a.m. She was last seen by her stepdaughter, the infamous Lizzie Borden, and the maid Bridget. During the time she was killed, Lizzie's sister Emma was out of town, and Mr. Borden was out in Fall River, as was Uncle John. Lizzie said she was downstairs ironing handkerchiefs. Miss Borden was murdered in the room Uncle John had slept the night before. This is now one of the most requested rooms for overnight stays in the Lizzie Borden Axe Murder House and Museum, the John Morse Room, also known as the Murder Room. There were no signs of a struggle. There were no defensive wounds. Peculiar, isn't it? Now, the evidence is unclear as to whether she was facing her attackers and didn't fight back or couldn't fight back. But one thing we do know is where her wounds were. One blow was above her ear to the left-hand side of her face. Another blow between her shoulder blades that was 4 inches deep. Then the remaining 17 were to the back of the head and neck, for a total of 19. Eventually, Miss Borden was found face down in a pool of her own coagulated blood. Between the blood and the stomach contents of both victims, we can place Miss Borden's death around 9:30 a.m., a full hour and a half before Mr. Borden's death. In the living room, in the photo in the living room where the autopsy had taken place, you can see Mrs. Borden laying flat on her stomach, and you can see the pool of blood around her head. And you can see in the mirror the camera that took the photo. Did you know that the crime scene photos were the first crime scene photos taken in the United States? How's that for a morbid fun fact?